Hello and welcome to our Fireside Chat series, Voices of Change, brought to you by Great Learning. I'm Sapna Kapoor, Head of DE&I Initiatives. This series aims to spotlight the incredible work being done by DE&I leaders who are shaping more inclusive and equitable workplaces. Throughout the series, we hope to inspire, inform, and engage our audience by exploring the tangible strategies and transformative ideas that fuel DE&I work. It's an absolute pleasure to have Sonal Vaidya, Global Head Organization Development and Effectiveness at L&T Technology Services, join us today. Sonal, your commitment to advancing DEI have inspired many. I'm looking forward to diving into your experiences and insights. But before we get started, could you briefly introduce yourself to our audience?
Thanks, Sapna, and really happy to be here. So my name is Sonal. I've been with L&T Technology Services for over 11 years now. Before that, I was with Tech Mahindra, and before that with Wipro. So been with engineering IT organizations throughout my career. Started my journey as an academician and always thought will be a professor. But as life did take a toll, landed up in corporate world. It's been 24 years now that I've been in the field of organization development. In the current role at L&T Technology Services, I do head DEI, and we started this initiatives in 2014. So it's been around 10 years, and I think this initiative has really taken firm roots in the organization, and it's pretty much become one of the foundational philosophies for the organization. So that's a little bit about me, Sapna.
Wonderful. Let's dive right in with the first question. You've had an impressive journey in DEI. What inspired you to take on this role, and how has your perspective evolved over the years as you've engaged with this work?
Sure. So we started the journey, and I'll keep it contextual to L&T Technology Services. We started this journey in the year 2014. And I'll tell you one instance which really started this journey. So in the year 2014, we were having a town hall, and our CEO was there. And one of the women stood in the town hall, and he did ask the CEO that, why do we have such less women in mainstream functions like sales? And what is that we should do to have more women in these stereotypical roles in the organization? And I think that pretty much marked the journey of our diversity and inclusion practices in the organization in the year 2014. And of course, we started with gender diversity. And being an engineering organization, we know that women in engineering and women in STEM, has always been a challenge. But we did say that we will have a very, very focused initiative in the organization, and which is really going to aim at having more and more women in the workforce, and just not women in the workforce, but really a set of empowered women in the workforce, which are going to add value to the organization. So we ended up creating an entire initiative, which we call as Wings, Soaring to Success. And that initiative, we strategized for a period of 5 years, and we said by 2020, we'll at least have 20% women in the workforce. And we came up with a philosophy which was bucketed into 3 paradigms. One was around hiring, retention, and development. And what really did happen is that when you put a strategy in practice and in motion, the whole organization, especially the leadership team, really rallied behind it. And as a result, in the year 2020, we not only did become 20%, we crossed the target that we had really set up for ourselves. But a lot of focus initiatives around various retention policies which were rolled out for women employees, a lot of development initiatives rolled out to bring more and more women into leadership roles, both at the mid and the senior level. And at the same time, really creating a culture where inclusivity pretty much becomes the foundation of the organization.
Wow, it's quite inspiring to hear your journey, and I am sure your story will continue to motivate others in this important work. Given the shifting dynamics in today's workplace, how do you interpret D&I in the current organizational landscape?
Given the current landscape of DEI, um, today, if you really look at DEI, there is this whole concept of multi-dimensional diversity that is really coming into picture. So DEI is just not gender diversity or LGBTQ, or when we are talking about PWT, that is people with disabilities, we are talking about generational diversity. With so many generations coming into the workforce, we're also talking about compositional diversity, because the business models are changing now. You've got hybrid working, you've got work from home, and you've also got a diversity which is going to be influenced with a lot of technology coming into the workspace, like AI, bots. So in our organization, what we really started looking at in terms of diversity, right now the focus is on three major areas for us. One is, of course, in terms of gender diversity. The second is generational diversity. The third is cultural diversity for us. And the fourth one that we're really seeing now is in terms of, with the advent of technology, what is that how it's going that's going to impact our multi-dimensional diversity. And I think that's how the landscape for diversity as a definition in itself is changing. And I think the horizons for diversity are now just widening more and more.
It's inspiring to hear how you navigate DEI in today's evolving workplace. My key takeaway is adapting strategies to tackle challenges and opportunities while maintaining inclusivity and equity. Let's talk about learning and development. What innovative learning and development strategies are you implementing to foster inclusivity into your organization?
So, L&T as an organization, people really know L&T for leadership development and learning initiative. It's a birthplace for a lot of unique interventions in the space of leadership development and learning and development. Now, a couple of things that we are really doing uniquely in order to promote inclusivity is, so we run an initiative which is called as Leaders League in the organization, where we identify leaders across each and every echelon in the organization every year. And we put them through a rigorous development center for a period of 2 days. And after that, we invest in them for a period of 1 year. And then they become a part of a pool which is called as Leaders League. And we are ensuring that the leadership positions are filled from within. Now, that's one initiative where we've seen year on year, and we started this initiative in 2016. Now, each year, grow increasingly, we are seeing more and more women, and especially even from a diversity perspective, when I'm looking at generational diversity, and I'll come to it in a little while from now, we're seeing more and more women as a part of the league. Now, one of the interesting things, of course, is that we are also running parallel intervention for women, especially, women we want to move to as young leaders, and women in mid positions. One of the initiatives that we are really running for these women is called as a Lighthouse Initiative. Now, this is an initiative where we've identified around 23 women in the organization who really grown from within. A lot of them have grown from within. We have some women who've been with the organization for more than 24 years. They started just as a trainee, and now they are segment heads. And so they've got inspirational stories. And those inspirational stories, they are using those stories to mentor the young women in the workforce. So we've got this entire initiative called as Lighthouse, which is a mentoring initiative. which has really taken form and shape in the last 2 years. Apart from that, we also have specific development journeys like what we call as WLP, which is Women Leadership Program. And we also run a series called as Women Empowerment Series. So there are a lot of parallel programs that we run for women so that we could have more and more women, as a part of Leaders League and also as a part of the leadership team. The second thing, which we are currently doing for generational diversity, because we have a lot of millennials in the workforce, and you need to have a different learning and development approach for them. Now, one of the things that we really launched for them is an initiative called as YABC. It's called as a Young Advisory Board to the CEO. Here we identify every 6 months, we identify around 40 people, and these are all people who have only 2 or 3 years of experience, and they form an advisory board for the CEO. So what they do is that they meet the COO every fortnight, and the COO discusses important issues and challenges in the organization with them, and they come up with solutions. Now, one would really think that, how would they really come up with solution? This is going to be the third year for us, and you would be amazed with the kind of solutions that they can come up with. Of course, we make them sign legal bonds for confidentiality, but that's an initiative which has really, really taken firm shape in the organization, and it has become a vehicle for learning and for development. Now, one of the things that we've really seen coming out of this initiative is that today, the last three business executives, which are business assistants that we've given to the chairman of L&T, are from this pool. And even the business EA that we've given to the CEO is from that pool. And these are very, very young people. And the second initiative, which is very unique, and of course, this is the most unique initiative, which we worked along with one of the big fours, is called as the CEO Club. And we've been running this initiative for the last 6 years. Now, this is an initiative where we tell anybody in the organization who has an aspiration to become the CEO can apply, which means it can be a fresher and it can also be a person who has 28 or 30 years of experience. Now, we run a very stringent assessment process along with one of the big fours. It's a 5-stage assessment process. So every year, 1,000 people apply, and we end up selecting only 6 people. And these 6 people are aligned to the CEO of the organization. Now, they have a super fast track career in the organization. They also come up with path-breaking ideas. Now, what's really interesting is that the youngest CEO Club member that we have only has 2 years of experience. And the oldest CEO Club member has around 27 years of experience. So we have CEO Club members who were just handling a project or a project lead. And today they are delivery heads handling an entire delivery unit. So they've got a super fast track career. So I feel these are some things that we are doing differently in order to bring about more inclusivity into the organization. An extremely, extremely conscious effort to do things differently.
That's incredible work, Sonal. I think your efforts are not only impactful, but also set a powerful example for driving meaningful changes. I'm sure you agree that tailored learning is a great way to ensure equity. As we see rapid advancement in technology, how do you think AI, the buzzword, can enhance D&I efforts, particularly in promoting equitable learning experiences?
So for us, we are an engineering R&D organization, and technology is very important for us. So for us, democratizing learning so that learning is available on the go is very, very important. So we do have a clear strategy as to how much we want to democratize learning and how we want to democratize learning. So we have around 40% of the learning today which is democratized learning. And it's more like the Netflix approach. So the learning is really customized. And it really comes from the belief that if people are able to own their own learning, they will be more committed to learning. So we do have an entire platform in place where people are able to curate their own learning paths and their own IDPs, the individual development plans. And then we have done tie ups with a lot of external vendors to provide them with a plethora of courses, with a plethora of books, with a plethora of boot camps. So we made all of that possible for them. Now, the learning here is still blended learning. So the tool that we have, it does help you create a curated learning path and an individual development plan for yourself. And 40% of that plan is really learning on the go. It's totally democratized. Whereas you still have 50 or 60% of the plan, which will be still, in maybe in form of uh, workshops or on the job exposure or in terms of coaching or mentoring. But AI has played a very, very specific role. And I think for us, the scenario post pandemic has, I feel, has absolutely revolutionized learning. For the first time, we did even development centers. So we run development centers for identifying high potentials in the organization. And the belief always has been, even with the big fours, that it has to be done face to face. But during pandemic, we did not want to put development on hold. So we did everything virtually and we took help of AI to run these development centers. And I think that's been quite a game changer for us also, because there's a lot of speed and accuracy also involved in it. But one of the things I think where it's an evolutionary stage for us. If you look at learning and development, I still feel that while AI is here to aid us in the process, it's not the end solution for us. So today, the way we are really using AI is we are using it as an aided process for learning and development. And I do feel around 40 to 50%, it's, it is well aided, but it cannot be an end-to-end solution. And I think a couple of considerations out there is, when you're running things which are really high order things in terms of leadership development or certain socio emotional content, then you also know that AI comes with its own legalities and its own biases. And when I say its own biases, because we all know that at the end of the day, AI is predictive analytics. And only what you feed into AI is what you're going to get out of it. So we have to be a little cautious, because when we are feeding data into AI, that also has biases creeping in. So we've tried to keep a balance between the two, but I do really feel that's really going to deeply shape L&D in future. And for us, we want to take democratizing learning at least to a 50% touching this year.
Wow. Seeing the impactful work you're leading in this space is exciting and inspiring, Sonal. Your insights have truly been invaluable. Thank you so much. Before we wrap up, is there a message you'd like to leave our audience with about the importance of the ENI?
So I feel that, if you really look at D&I holistically, it's an agenda. I strongly believe that it's an agenda which needs to be driven by the top. And we need to make a change in the cultural fabric of the organization where it's no longer a conscious effort. It gets woven into the very DNA of an organization. And over the last 10 years, I've really seen that happening in the organization, where each and every leader is becoming a champion for D&I. And no longer, even though I head D&I for the organization, I think I'm more in a facilitative role. I feel the leaders are the ones who are in the lead role. And until and unless we are not able to do that in the organization, we'll not be able to really drive the true agenda for D&I.
Beautifully said, Sonal. I believe we have gained valuable insights into the significant strides being made across various organizations. Thank you once again for being a part of Voices of Change. It was wonderful speaking to you. This has been Voices of Change, brought to you by Great Learning. Until next time, stay committed to creating a world where everyone has a voice.